to really understand and to get deep insights about the wonders of Hashem when he is in relation to himself, and how Hashem is one even when he is in relation to God, to a world. So when a person reflects on the different aspects of the wonders of Hashem, so it begins with hearing, because he's thinking, he's analyzing, he's reflecting, he's meditating, he's deep studying. That's the Shmiya. Then it becomes so clear that it becomes Ad Shira'eh, until he will see Be'ein HaSechel Balev. He will see with the eye of the intellect in his heart. Good evening. Today is the eve of the 16th of Kislev, and we are in the Maimar Roni Vesimchi Bas Tzion. It's a special Maimar, and we are going to take time learning it in a way that we can integrate it with Hashem. It's in Parshas Miketz in Torah Ohr. We are holding by page Lamed Zayin, which is 73. Around on the right side, around a third from the top, the line that starts Inyan Mashekasu V'tzidkascha Yeranenu. Inyan Memshin Mashekasu V'tzidkascha. It's over the line Malchus HaKadisha and under the line Ulahagdil Goydel Oitzem Shevach HaMelech. So before that, I would like to go over the questions, review questions that Michla prepared so skillfully, and they're such good questions that really are loyal to the text and enable us to review the first section of this Maimar. So let's begin with that, and then we will see who will do Chazar questions for next week, if it's possible. The first question is, what pasuk does the Haftarah of Hanukkah begin with? What pasuk? Michla, you can unmute yourself.
Okay.
What
so
pasuk?
Roni Vesimchi Bas Tzion.
Roni Vesimchi Bas Tzion. This is the from Perek base of Zechariah. Rejoice and be happy, the daughters of Zion. Ki hineni ba, because I am coming, says Hashem. Number two, what obvious connection is that between the Haftarah to Hanukkah? What's the obvious connection between the Haftarah and Hanukkah? Michla?
The pasuk Re'isi v'hinei Menorah Sav.
Right. So at the end of the Haftarah, towards the end, the Navi Zechariah describes his vision of the golden menorah that he had seen in his vision. And that is a reminder of the menorah of Beis HaMikdash, of Hanukkah. And that's the obvious connection. Very good. Three, what question does the Alter Rebbe ask about this?
So why do we start from Roni Vesimchi? We should start from v'hinei Menorah Sav. Re'isi v'hinei Menorah Sav.
Right. We should start with the Navi seeing the golden menorah. Why we are starting with the Haftarah of Hanukkah by Roni Vesimchi, the daughter of Tzion. Very good. 5. What does the Zohar clarify about Rina and Simcha?
So I think Simcha is day and Roni is night.
Right. In the serving of Hashem, Simcha is the service of the day, and Renana is the service of the night, which the Zohar says, Simcha betzafra, joy, the happiness or Simcha in the morning, and Renana beramsa. And Renana is in the evening, at night. Okay. 6. Which of these two is the avodah of the Malachim? Which of we have two avoiders, Simcha and Rina. Which of the avoiders is the avodah of Malachim, of the angels?
So it says the Malachim Arena. I don't remember why, but
The Malachim are Rina. Why? Because, I mean, as the Rebbe will explain soon, that the Rina is such a song that represents the yearning to come closer to Hashem.
Right.
And this is the song of the Malachim. Everything has its song, but this is the song of the Malachim, which is different than the avoida of Neshamus, which I think you mentioned. And the Rebbe will explain that the Malachim, Rina, is more milemata lemaila, going from below up, the yearning to come closer to godliness, and the song that goes along with that. And Simcha is the service that is more shayach to Neshamas Yisrael, which is the service of bringing Or and Sof down here, milemala lemata. And the joy is the joy of experiencing godliness in this world. The Rina is the longing to leave the Keli and to be merging with the infinite. The Simcha is the Simcha of bringing the infinite into this world. So, number 6, which of these two is the avodah of the Malachim? That's the avodah of Rina. The Malachim have no avodah of Torah and mitzvahs or bringing godliness down. Their whole shira, the whole song, is the song of merging with the above, merging with the infinite, going upwards. Okay. Number 7, what is the constant avodah of the Malachim? What is the avodah of Neshamas? So I think we explained a little bit. You want to add to it anything?
The Shemus is Torah mitzvahs. I mean, the Malachim don't have that.
Right. So the Malachim is the constant avodah of going up and merging with the infinite, in Atzilus and higher. And the Neshamos have the avodah of Torah and mitzvahs, and that is the Amshacha milemayla lemata, to bring a lokus from up down, to bring godliness into the world. And therefore, when they are occupied, there are times when Yidden are occupied with Torah and mitzvahs, then they are occupied with Amshacha, with drawing a lokus milemala lemata, from above to below. And therefore, it's not a time for Rina, it's a time for Simcha. Rina is going from below up. Number 8, why is the avodah of the Malachim called Chitzonius?
They're constantly yearning. They don't get that revelation, maybe? They're just constantly yearning?
Yes. So the Rebbe explains that the fact that they constantly sing the song of praise to Hashem, when do you sing the song of praises to the king? Not when you are standing in front of him. When you are standing in front of him, you're probably quiet or whatever. But once you go out, you can tell everybody and share and sing the song of praise of all the preciousness and all the godliness that you saw by the king. So the type of Rina, of song, of the Malachim, of yearning to Hashem, that is indication that they are not feeling intimately close with him. And because they are not feeling close, they are yearning to come closer. That's the nature of their song. And therefore, it's from where they are coming more from Chitzonius, from external relationship with Hashem, while Neshamas Yisrael are connected with the Pnimius, more intimate closeness, proximity to godliness. Is that okay, Michla?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Number 10. Number 10 already is the beginning of the second chapter. We began the second chapter of the Maimar, where the Rebbe says, "V'zeu inyan ma shekasu b'tzidkascha yiranenu," that the Rina of the Malachim is about tzidkascha, Yod Tzedek, Yod Tzedek. So the question is, V'tzidkas chayranenu, what is V'tzidkas chayranenu? In judgment of Hashem in regard to his creations. Tzidkascha, tzedek, the judgment. What is tzedek, and what that the tzedek are we talking about?
So it's something about how much Gilui Chayas they would get based on how much they deserve, based on how much Malchus Shemayim?
Yes, and that's the inyan of Malchus. Malchus is called the tzedek of Hashem, tzidkascha. What is Malchus? Malchus is the chayus, the constricted and limited and tailored energy and vitality that HaKadosh Baruch Hu bestows upon the creations in order to create them and to animate them. It's not Or Ein Sof itself, it's not the infinite light, it's Malchus. It's just the aspect of Chitzonius of the Or Eloki, the external aspect of the Or Eloki, that aspect of Or Eloki that is shayach to the worlds. That's it called Tzidkascha. And the Rebbe explains that why Malchus, as the Zohar says in Pasach Eliyahu, the Tikkun Zohar, in Pasach Eliyahu, he said that Tzedek Malchus HaKadisha. Tzedek is the holy Malchus. Midas HaMalchus of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is called Tzedek. Why? Because there is, as the Rebbe adds, also Moznei Tzedek, the scale of righteousness, the scale of justice, and these are the divine. This is the divine scale with which Midas HaMalchus assesses and judges how much chayus to allocate to every creation according to the measure of Kabbalah's Ol Malchus Shamayim that every creature has. And that's the amount of chayus that it can receive. And therefore, Malchus is also called Tzedek and is connected to Moznei Tzedek, to the scales of righteous judgment, of how much vitality and how much divine energy and life each creation will receive. But before we continue, we had more, why is it referred to as Malchus? Okay, we'll get back to number 11 and 12. But before we get to question 11 and 12, which are in the second chapter of the Maimar, I would like, and since we're just coming from Tes and Yud Kislev, which the birthday and the Yortzeit of the Mittler Rebbe, the son of the Alter Rebbe, and the Chag HaGeula of the Mittler Rebbe, and demonstrating how most of the Maimarim are based on the Alter Rebbe's Maimarim, and every Rebbe is unfolding the Maimar from the Alter Rebbe further and further. I posted on our chat a very little piece of Chanukah Maimar from the Mittler Rebbe, Reb Dovber, that is beginning with Roni Vesimchi bas Tzion, the same Maimar of the Alter Rebbe. Now this is the Mittler Rebbe is continuing this Maimar, and I'm sorry if I hope it's okay with you. Yeah, it should be okay. Okay, so I posted it on the chat, and you can look inside, and I will try to do it quickly, and that will just add some more dimensions to the beginning of the Maimar that begins with the prophecy of Navi Zechariah about the Geula, Roni Vesimchi bas Tzion. Rejoice and be happy, the daughter of Tzion. And the Mittler Rebbe said this Maimar, Shabbos Chanukah, Taf Kuf Pei Vav, which is 1825. not 26 because it's before January, so it didn't switch yet by the Goyish year. So that's why it's 1825. רוני ושמחי בס ציון חולו. הנה יש להבין למה נקראת כנסת ישראל בשם בס דווקא. We need to understand why the collective Jewish souls or soul is called Bas. It's called the daughter of Zion. כמו בס ציון, בס ירושלים, בס יהודה. These are various places in the Tanakh that the term Bas is used, and he gives example 3 of them. The daughter of Zion, Bas Tzion, the daughter of Yerushalayim, Bas Yerushalayim, Jerusalem, and the daughter of Judah, Bas Yehuda. So what is this Bas? That the Jewish people are called Bas, the Jewish soul is called Bas, daughter. והנה ידוע מאמר הז"ל, לא זז מחבבה עד שקראה ביתי. Chazal say that Hashem did not move away from being fond of the Jewish people, of the Jewish nation, until he called her Biti, my daughter. The Jewish soul is called my daughter. כמו שכתוב, שימי בס אוראי. As the Pasuk says in Tehillim Mem-Hey, Shimi bas urai, listen, daughter, and see. And then Chazal say, ולא זז מחבבה עד שקראה אחוסי. Another term that Knesset Yisrael is called by, is titled with, is Hashem's sister, Achosi, my sister. So Hashem is so fond of the Jewish people until he calls them Achosi, my sister. כמו שכתוב, Achosi ra'ayasi. As it says in Shir HaShirim, Shlomo HaMelech speaks in the name of Hashem and says that the Jewish soul is my sister, my partner, my wife. So now we have psukim that indicate that the Knesset Israel are called Bas, daughter. The other psukim that Knesset Israel indicate that Knesset Israel are called a sister. And then, ולא זז מחבבה עד שקראה אימי. And Hashem loved so much the Jewish people until he called her, the Jewish soul, Imi, my mother. So he calls the Jewish soul my daughter, my sister, and my mother. כמו שכתוב בעטרה שעטרה לו אימו. As it says in Shir HaShirim, with the crown that his mother crowned him. וכסיב כאיש אשר אימו תנחמנו. Like a mother that is comforted by, like a man that is comforted by his mother. So will Hashem be comforted. וכמו שכתוב, הקשיבו אליי עמי ולאומי. Listen to me, Hashem says, my nation and my leom. Leom is also a nation. It's my people and my nation. Ami uleumi. Leom is a nation. Ami is my people. Listen to me, Hashem says, my people and my leom. So Chazal say, al tomar uleumi, don't say my nation, ela leimi, to my mother. So they bring psukim that indicate that Hashem sometimes calls Knesset Yisrael my mother. So, והרי משמעות הדברים, that means שחביבוס זו, that this fondness, this love that Hashem has to the Jewish soul, the BT, or the Jewish community, collective soul, the BT, the Achosi, חביבוס זו, the BC והאחוסי ואימי, this fondness that is expressed through the term my daughter, my sister, and my mother, הן חביבוס זו למעלה מזו. Or חביבוס זו למעלה מזו. It's a fondness one higher than the other. The lowest level of fondness of love is BT, is Bas, daughter. Higher than that is a sister, and higher than that is a mother. The חביבוס הבס למטה מן חביבוס אחוסי, חביבוס דאחוסי, ואחוסי למטה מאמי. The fondness of the daughter is lower than the fondness of the sister, and the fondness of the sister lower than the fondness of the mother. לפי שהולך כסדר, because it goes in an orderly fashion. תחילה הקראה בשם בס. First, Hashem called the Jewish people a daughter, my daughter, ואחר כך אחוסי, and then Hashem calls the Jewish people my sister, ואחר כך אמי, and then he calls her my mother. ולהבין כל זה, הנה תחילה יש להבין מה שכתוב שמעי בס וראי. And to understand all this, and then we begin with what does it mean when Hashem calls the Jewish people bas, a daughter. So we go to the pasuk, Shim'i bas uri, this is a Hili Mem Hey, and then it says, listen or hear me, daughter, and see. And then it says, Shichachi amech uveis avich, forget your people and your father's home, ve'yisav hamelech yofyech, and the king will desire your beauty. The mashma, from this pasuk, it means, shelo yisav hamelech yofyech, כי אם כאשר תשכח הבס עמך ובית אביך. So from this pasuk, it comes out that the king will not desire the beauty of this daughter until the daughter will forget her nation and her father's home. So this daughter has to forget her amech ובית אביך, and then the king will desire her. והעניין הוא כידוע, דהנשמה האלוקיס נקראת ברסה דמלכה. Now to explain that, says the Mittler Rebbe, the godly soul is called the daughter of the king. Brasa de Malka. In Aramaic, Brasa is, or Barsa, or Brasa is a daughter. A bar is a son, and Brasa is a daughter. So this Neshama Elokis, the godly soul, the divine soul, is called the daughter of the king. Ve'omnam, however, בהיות הנשמה דבוקה בחומר הגופני, שהוא הנפש הטבעיס, נמשכת ומסלבשת בלבוש גס זה. However, when the neshama is attached to the physical, corporeal body, שהוא הנפש הטבעיס, and she's attached to the natural soul, to the animalistic soul, to the vital soul, then the nefesh, the neshama, is nimshechas umislabeshes, is brought down. In that case, the divine soul is now brought down and now being enclosed with a levush gas, with a coarse kind of a garment. ולא יוכל אור הנשמה לעלות למעלה כלל. And then what happens to the light of the soul is that the soul, the light of the soul, cannot ascend upwards to godliness at all. ונשארת למטה בעולם הפירוד. And when the soul is invested in the body and closed in the body in this physical world, it remains below in the world of separation, of feeling separate from the source. אך לפרקים. But sometimes, so really the condition of the soul, the godly soul, when she is in the physical body, is she is exiled, and she is in the world of pure, of separation from Elokus. לפרקים, but sometimes, from time to time, כאש תחשוף הנפש, the soul will yearn like fire, לעלות למכור חוצבה, to ascend and reunite from the source from where she was carved out. Chatzav, ches tzadik veis, that's the root means to carve, to dig out, from where she was carved out. So when the nefesh, when the neshama, the godly soul, is yearning to go back to her home, to where she was carved out, אי אפשר לה לעלות. It's not possible for her to ascend back to her source כי אם שתגבור בתשוקה להשם אחד, unless the soul is now taking over, so to speak, the consciousness of the person with its intense yearning and desire to the one God, כל כך, and she is now taken over with such an intense desire for אלוקוס, עד שתמאס בחיי הבלי העולם הזה, until she will really despise all the vanities, all the narishkeiten of this world, ולא יהיה לה רצון אחר זר כלל, and she comes to the point where she has no other foreign desire, זולס הרצון הזה השלם בליבו, except this one desire and one will, which is completely takes over the entire heart, שזהו הנקרא, when a person gets to that condition, when the godly soul takes over to such an extent that the only desire that a person desires is to godliness, זהו הנקרא בר לבב. This is what is called בר לבב, the one that has a pure heart. כמו שכתוב, מי יעלה בהר הווי, as it says in Tehillim, who, Tehillim כ"ד, פסוק ג' וד', מי יעלה בהר הווי, we also say it in שיר של יום, on Sunday, מי יעלה בהר הווי, who will ascend on the mount of God, on the holy mount, נקי כפיים ובר לבב, the one who has clean palms and a pure heart דווקא, והוא מה שאנו רואים, and this is what we see, that at times יספעל האדם לפרקים בתוך פנימיוס נקודס לבבו להשם אחד לבדו, that sometimes the person will get aroused in the inner point of his heart, in the depth of his heart, to Hashem echad only, ואין זר איתו, and nothing else, no foreign element but God only, דהיינו שמואס ועוקר כל רצונות הזרות שבליבו, that means when a person is despising and uproots all the foreign desires from his heart. Does anyone volunteer to do Chazara questions for next time, from what we are learning now? You want to do it, Rivka Miriam? שכוח. רק רצון אחד לאלוקים חיים. A person is taken over only with one desire for the living God, והוא הנקרא לב אחד לאביו שבשמיים. And this is called one heart to his Father in heaven. ולא בייס לבבוס, and not two hearts, not לבב אחד, two hearts, יצר טוב, יצר הרע, rather it's one heart, וזה בר לבב. And this is what the Pasuk says, the one that has a pure heart, שלא, bar is pure, and bar means few things. It could be, in Aramaic, bar could mean a son, the one that came out from the father is bar. Bar means outside. And also bar means pure. So bar levav means pure heart, clear and pure. שלא נשא לשווא ושקר נפשו, that he didn't associate his soul with any lies and any vanities, ורצונו כלל לא כלל, and he didn't direct his desire and will at all towards anything which is not true and not pure. וכמו, and like, מילי בשמיים, next page, ועמך לא חפצתי בארץ חולו. I don't want anything, not in שמיים, not הארץ, I just want you. page ש"ל. שבאקירס הרצוינוס הזרוס מליבו לגמרי, when a person uproots foreign desires from his heart entirely, מכל וכל, completely, ואינו מכוון ליבו רק להווי לבדו, and he directs his heart only to Hashem only, הרי בזה דווקא, with this particularly, תצא הנשמה מלבושים זרים, דהישמשך בהי עלמא, עד שנשכחו מליבו לגמרי, דהיינו שנעקרו משורשן, בטיביוס החומריוס, שכבר נשקע בהן והיה כלא היה כולו. Saying what happens then is that then, when a person now is taken over with this one love to one God and nothing else, then the neshama exits and is freed from the foreign garments of klipa that it drew upon itself from being in this world. And in that case, all these soiled garments will be completely forgotten from his heart and will be uprooted from their root in the tivius achumrius, in the natural materialistic reality that a person was already sunk in, and at that point, all the attachment to the physical world disappears, and a person is filled with one desire to the one God. שזהו בירור והיפוך הלבושים זרים דנפש הטבעיס ונקראים לבושי דחיה. This is the refinement and the transformation of the foreign garments of the natural soul, of the worldly soul, which are called impure garments, that the soul is wrapped with when she's involved in materialistic reality. But then, when a person is taken over with this yearning to come back to its source, and the neshama yearns to come back to her source, then when a person is taken over with this one love and one yearning to Hashem and rejects and is moist, he's like fed up, he despises, he's like cannot tolerate anymore the vanities and all the addictions of this world, then the neshama is freed from these impure garments. ולא שיספילוס נקודס ליבו הזאת רק לפי שעה. This is not just a temporary passing arousal, אלא נשרש בליבו בשורש עצמי. Rather, this yearning now to Hashem and the pure interest and desire to be focused on Hashem alone and no other desire is now rooted deeply in an essential rooting in himself, in his heart, עד שניזוז באמס ממקום הסקשרוסו בענייני גופו, בתמידוס, למאוס בהן תמיד, until he is really moved away, ניזוז, לזוז, הזזה means when there is an uprootedness, to be rooted from one place and to be moved to another place. That's called הזזה. It's a true moving away from being attached to the corporeal, physical, worldly matters, now to constantly, bitmidus, to despise them in a constant manner and to be only drawn to godliness. וזה שכסוב, now I'm the main paragraph, ו' זין שין on page שין למד. וזה שכסוב שמעי בסוראי. This is what David HaMelech says. Listen, daughter, and see. פירוש שמיעה וראייה זו הוא בקריאה שמע. What does it mean when we are told, listen and see, but the daughter of Tzion? This is the seeing, the hearing and the seeing that the pasuk that Tehillim is talking about is in Kriya Shema. When we say Shema, B'isboinenus de Shema Yisrael, when we are reflecting on Shema Yisrael, and that begins with the brachas before Shema and so on, Ba'achdus Hashem, and we are reflecting on the oneness of Hashem, להבין ולהשכיל באמיתס ייחודו יתברך בעצמו ובעולמוס, to really understand and to get deep insights about the oneness of Hashem when he is in relation to himself and how Hashem is one even when he is in relation to God, two worlds. So when a person reflects on the different aspects of the oneness of Hashem, עד שיראה בעין השכל בלב, so it begins with hearing because he's thinking, he's analyzing, he's reflecting, he's meditating, he's deep studying. That's the Shmiya. And then it becomes so clear that it becomes ad shireh, until he will see be'ein hasechel balev. He will see with the eye of the intellect in his heart. It becomes so clear that it's like seeing it. וזה שכתוב שמעי בס וראי. And this is what it says, listen daughters and see. ותתפעל באהבה רבה להשם אחד לבד, ואהבת את השם אלוקיך בכל לבבך בבית יצריך, גם ביצר הרע. And this will cause the nefesh to be inspired and excited with great love to Hashem Echad, when we say, ואהבת, after Shema, ואהבת את השם אלוקיך, בכל לבבך, בכל נפשך, ובכל מאודיך, בכל לבבך, בבית יצריך, גם ביצר הרע. Even with the יצר הרע, with the second יצר, second heart, so to speak, you will love Hashem. שזהו היפוך כל הרצונות הזרות. This is the transformation and turning over of all the foreign desires. למאוס ברע כנ"ל, to despise evil, as the Rebbe said before, שנמצא גם הנפש הטבעיס. החומריוס עולה להוויה ברצון הטבעי בלב אחד. So we find that even the animalistic soul, even the ego, even the natural soul, is ascending now with a natural desire, joining the godly soul to really now desire the godliness as well. It says here nizonit. I think nizonit is to be nurtured, but I think it's nizozit, as it's like the word nizoz in the previous paragraph. Here you have the same thing. I think it should be nizozis. Instead of the nun, it should be a second zayin. That means that she moves, the nefesh habahamis is now moves away ממקום התקשרותה בחומריות עולם הזה, from her attachment to the corporeal world. וזה שכתוב שכחי עמך ובית אביך. So we saw in the pasuk before, when will the king desire your beauty? When the pasuk says, when you will forget your people and your nation, your people and the house of your father's home. שתשכח הנפש לגמרי, that the nefesh should completely forget על מקום שורש התקשרותה הראשון בחומריות לעולם הזה, שנקרא עמך ובית אביך. So she should, the nefesh habahamis should completely forget its attachment, its first attachment, initial attachment to the physicality of this world, which is called your people and your father's home, where he was born into. כמו שכתוב במקום אחר, as it says elsewhere, בעניין יפת תואר, regarding the prisoned captive woman that is taken, the Goyish woman that is taken in war, and she is called Yefat Torah. When a Jewish soldier sees a Yefat Torah, he is allowed to take her and eventually marry her. Uvachta es avia, and she first, though, has to be in his house for a whole month, 30 days, and cry her father's home. Shehu hanitzotz haeloki shenafal bechalos noga. What is she crying? She is crying about the godly spark that fell into the world of Klipos, into the chambers of Klipos Noga. ויצא משם להיכלל בקדושה האלוקית. And eventually this nitzos will exit this exiled condition to be included in the divine holiness. So there is a need for the nefesh hativis to forget its attachment to this world in terms of the addictive pull of this world to draw the nefesh down. And then when finally a person comes with his nefesh habahamis, with his ego, to realization that he is really despising all these attachment to this world, the physical world that brings him down, then ואז יסעב המלך יופייך. Then the king will desire your beauty. פירוש יופייך הוא היופי והידור שבפנים, כתואר ומראה. Yofiech, your beauty, is the beauty and the hidur, the grace, the charm of the face, like the words Torah and Mar'eh, Uchemor v'Rachel, like Rachel Imenu, our mother Rachel, was Yefas Torah v'Yefas Mar'eh. She was a beautiful woman, and that means Shezeu Lemala B'Knesset Yisrael. This applies to above, to the Jewish soul, to the collective Jewish soul, Shenikres Rayasi Yafasi, that is called my partner, my beauty one, my beautiful one. Shemiyofi Shela Meyapa Oti. Why she is called Yafati, my beauty? Because the Jewish collective soul, Rachel Imenu, which is also, Rachel was called also beautiful. From her beauty, Hashem says she's making me beautiful. She's making Elokus more beautiful because we are elevating the klippos, the low reality of this world. כמו שכתוב, as the pasuk says, Yisrael asher becha espa'er. In Yeshayahu, Navi says, you are the Jewish people that in you I'm taking pride, says Hashem, and I'm beautifying myself with you. I'm becoming beautiful with you. ובכל ניצוץ בפרט, היינו עניין היופי שברצון, בחוכמה ומידוס, בתורה ומצוות, ואהבה ויראה שכלי וטבעיים. And this applies to each and every nitzos, which means each and every spark, which means that each and every person, the beauty of the will and the wisdom, the mind and the heart, how a person invests his will and his intellect and his emotions in Torah and mitzvahs, accompanied with ava and yira, with a real emotional relationship with Hashem, whether they are sichlim or tivim, but it's alive, a person is completely present in that service. K'ma'amar, as it says, kol shetif'eres lo osea v'tif'eres lo min ha'adam. It's in Pirkei Avos, that kol shetif'eres lo osea, it's a beauty to those who do it, Torah and mitzvahs, and tif'eres lo, to whom? It's a beauty to him, to whom? To him, to whom? To Hashem. Tif'eres lo. It's a beauty to him, to Hashem, from where? Min Adam. From Adam. From a Yid that does Torah mitzvahs with his mind and his heart and in machshava dibur u'maaseh. והוא מה שאנו רואים, שיש הרבה נשמות טובים, שהן ישרים בדרכיהם באספיילוס האבוידה שבמוח ולב, ובתורה ומצוות, כל היום בכוונה. And this, the Rebbe explains more now practically. What does it mean in our reality? We see that there are many souls, many good people, many good souls that are straightforward in their ways. They are straight path. They follow straight path, and they are really personally, emotionally involved. Bispilus avoida. And they are serving Hashem with the moyach, with the lev, with the mind, with the heart. And Torah, they're applying that in Torah and mitzvahs. They learn Torah, they do mitzvahs. Kol hayom, all day, with kavana, with intention, and with attention. Ve'im kol zeh, and together with all this, says the Rebbe, the Mittler Rebbe, hagam shenikra yofi, even though it's called beauty, the beauty of Torah and mitzvahs, וכמו שכתוב, כולך יפה רעייתי, as Shlomo HaMelech says in Shir HaShirim, that God says to his wife, to the Jewish people, you are all beautiful, my wife, my partner. Aval, nevertheless. So you're talking about people who are all day long doing Torah mitzvahs and they're sincere, this and that, Aval, yet, lo yis'av HaMelech yofiech. The king doesn't desire that beauty, your beauty. Why? שלא ירצה ויחפוץ השם ביופיו. That Hashem doesn't want and doesn't desire at all the beauty of that kind of a Yid. שלא יעלה לרצון כלל כל תורה המצוות וצדקה ומעשים טובים שנקראים תפארת לעושיה. It's strange, what does it say here? That לא יעלה לרצון, it will not be pleasing, Hashem will not want it, it will not come up to really satisfy the divine will at all. All the Torah and mitzvahs and the charity, the tzedakah and good deeds and mitzvahs, which are called tiferet la'oseh, beauty to those that do it. Nevertheless, Hashem doesn't desire it. וגם בחינת היופי בעצם התואר ומראה, לא יסאב המלך להיות מספאר ביופייך. And even though the beauty itself, the beauty of Torah and mitzvahs, the beauty of learning Torah, the beauty of doing mitzvahs all day long, that gives the person yofi of Torah and yofi of mar'eh l'rachel imenu. Nevertheless, lo yis'av hamelech, the king does not desire beyofiech, that type of beauty. Why? לפי שלא שכחה עמך ובית אביך. Because a person did not forget yet. She didn't forget her nation and her father's home, which means, in this case, it means that even there can be a Jew that is not doing averos and he's learning Torah, he has a Seder, he learns Torah, and he does mitzvahs, and he gives tzedakah, and he even has Avas Hashem, Yiras Hashem, but he did not forget his attachment to the physical body and world. שהוא איסקשרוס והזזז שורש איסקשרוסה הראשון בגופה החומרי. Which means the soul did not move away at all. There is no hazaza. There is no moving away. There is no hazaza. There is no move in the root of her attachment to the physicality of her body, of this body, the corporeal body, שלא ניזוז כלל ממקומו וטבעו עדיין. That this person, even though he learns Torah, he does mitzvahs, he gives tzedakah, he davens, but he did not move at all from his place and from his natural attraction yet to all the foreign desires בתענוגי העולם הזה, in the תענוגים of this world. כמו באכילה, so when a person is doing Torah mitzvahs, the Sheina Yid, has a beautiful Yid, yet nothing moved in the root of his attachment to the physical pleasures. Next page, Shin Lamed Aleph. Like באכילה, eating, the pleasure of eating, shesiya, drinking, mishgal, that's sexual relationship. Shukas chemdas inyan העולם הזה, desire the covered, the chemda, no, give me a word for chemda, the attraction and the
enjoyment,
appealing enjoyment of עניין העולם הזה, הגם שלא ילך אחריהם כלל, even though you are even talking about a yid that doesn't follow those addictions. He doesn't. הגם שלא ילך אחריהם כלל, he doesn't follow them at all. He doesn't sink in those taivos. He doesn't. אבל בחינת האיסקשרוס בעצם ישנה בשלמוס. So he managed to control himself, but he's still completely attached to all these body pleasures, בלי שכחה, without forgetting them, והזזה ממקומו כלל, and without being moved from that attachment at all. ועל כן, and because of that, לא יסאב המלך יופייך. The king will not desire your beauty, even though you have a beauty. It's the beauty of Torah and mitzvahs, but it's the beauty of Torah and mitzvahs of a person who did nothing change in his core, in the root of his attachment to the physical tanugim. וכמו שכתוב, as it says, כי שקר אכן, this is a Hasidic perspective, it's a higher demand, Sheker achen vehebel hayofi. This is what one way to look at the pasuk, that your grace is sheker, is false, and the yofi and the beauty is hevel, is vanity. Gam beneshamos, that you can even apply this pasuk to neshamos she'avodasam shleima. Look what the high bar and high standard that Mittler Rebbe is expecting us to be. That you're talking about neshamos, that their service is complete, b'Torah and mitzvos v'ava v'yira, and they have love and awe of Hashem, isha yiras Hashem, b'iskafia v'ishapcha kanal. We are talking about, I don't know here if it makes the turn already, Isha Yiras Hashem, who is called Isha Yiras Hashem, the Isha is here, the Neshama. Eshes Chayil can be applied to the Torah. She's called Eshes Chayil. She could be the Shechina, and could be also the Neshama, and the Jewish woman, of course. So the Neshama is, you're talking about Isha Yiras Hashem, a Yid who is doing his kafia and his sapcha, he's controlling his drives, he's even transforming. I think since he says his sapcha, I think he's here already, he's talking about the type of beauty that the Melech does desire. Heat is halal. This woman, the one that does his kafia v'ishapcha, the one that turns things over. I think ishapcha means a change, means a move. Heat is halal. She will be praised. I'm not sure though. I'll see in a moment. וזהו שאמרה, בעזרת השם, שאמר, והנערה אשר חפץ בה המלך, like it says about King Achashverosh, how all these girls, all these young women will used to be brought before the king, and the girl and the young woman אשר חפץ בה המלך, that the king desired, ונקראה בשם, she was called with a name, וכמו שכתוב בזוהר, and it says in the Zohar, we're talking about the relationship between God and the Jewish soul. זכה בר נש דקודשא בריחו יסערה בית הדר. The בר נש, a person is zoche that Hashem will want him frequently, constantly. וכמו כי רוצה הוויה בעמו. Hashem desires his people. שזה שכתוב, this is what it means, כי יסעב המלך יופייך, that the king will desire your beauty. וכמו שכתוב in the parenthesis, במקום אחר, שזה שכתוב, this is what it says, מי, which Navi is this? The שיר השירים also. מי זוס עולה מן המדבר? Who is this beautiful woman that is coming up from the desert? This is the midbar of Klippas Noiga, of Klippos, the desert of Klippos. We are this beautiful woman who is ascending, detaching herself, elevating, and detaching and then elevating herself from the midbar of Klippos, from the desert of Klippos, Davka. And she is so beautiful, Yafa Kalvana. She is beautiful like the moon. Sheikar Hayofi ba mitzachus hadamim, that the main beauty comes from the whiteness of the blood, which means mitzachus hadamim min apsoiles kesheshana aduma ben achochim sheba mibiur apsoiles davka. It's like the transforming of redness to whiteness. Redness represents klippos and sinning, and whiteness is pure and holy. So this transformation, when a person manages to move himself from the natural attachment to the tainugim, to the pleasures of this world, this is considered, and then he does Torah and mitzvahs. That type of beauty is the type of beauty that the king does desire. And let's conclude here of reading another few lines from the next paragraph. Obviously, this Maimar of Chanukah, like most of the Maimarim, most of the Mittler Rebbe, is long. The Mittler Rebbe's Maimarim. But he took just now the Bas Tzion, and he's explaining what Bas Tzion is. Roni Vesimchi Bas Tzion. So let's just read another few lines and we'll stop. And if you wish, you could learn the Maimar yourself in the Mamarim of the Mittler Rebbe on Bereshis from Hanukkah. Vehine Bechlalus. Now to connect it to Hanukkah, generally says the Rebbe, the Mittler Rebbe, Zeu inyan adlakas ner Hanukkah. This is the inyan of lighting the Hanukkah candle. Shehu lehadlik ulehaalos lenitzotzos the Israel. This the function, the purpose, the effect of lighting ner Hanukkah is to light and to elevate the nitzutzos, the spark, the divine souls, the souls of the Jewish people, Israel, hashochnim lemata b'choshech begufim chumrim, that are dwelling down here in the darkness, in physical bodies. The job of lighting ner Chanukah is leha'iram be'or hachayim, to illuminate those sparks that are in a danger of being dimmed and their light to be completely extinguished because of being in this dark physical world and in the body. The purpose of lighting ner Chanukah is to light up these sparks with the light of life, betosefes or behirus ve'avhaka yesera, with an additional light. So the ner Chanukah lights up every soul that is kind of dimmed by the attractions of this world, lights up the soul with additional light, of additional brightness, behirus, clarity, and havhaka, shyness, and brightness, extra shining, havhaka yesera, vehu al yedei hashemen shebaner, and this is through the oil of the candle, והעיקר מצד יסרון האור הבא מן החושך דקליפס נויגה. And the main thing is this extra, the extra quality, extra advantage of that light that comes out of the darkness of klipas noiga, which, how does this extra light come about? שהוא על ידי בירור והיפוך כל רצוינוס הזרוס בעיקרן ושורשן דווקא. This comes through refining and transforming and uprooting all the foreign desires from their source, from their root, dafka, to really uproot that attachment to all these desires, she'az dafka, then dafka yis'av hamelech es yofiech, the king will desire your beauty. She'is'aveh b'tshuka nifla'a beyoser, that the king will desire with an extraordinary desire, wondrous desire, libchinas yofi kaze, to desiring such a beauty, sheba b'yisron ha'or, sheba, that comes with the advantage, with the extra light, sheba mitzad hipuch hara letov, that comes from turning over evil to goodness. Shemiyape es hapanim harbe, that beautifies the face a lot. Yoter miguf hayofi shebe'etzem or neshama. So dafka, when the neshama works with the body to transform all the bodily desires and create this extra light that comes from the transformed darkness, that beautifies the face much more than the beauty itself that the Ohr of the neshama, that the neshama possesses. The Ohr of the neshama has its own beauty. But the beauty that the neshama creates out of working with the klippa of this world is a greater beauty. And that type of beauty the king mamash desires. It is higher than the Ohr itself of the neshama in Torah mitzvos, ava ve'ira, kanal v'dal. It's even higher than that. And then the Rebbe explains why and how. But this is a little piece of the Maimar of the Mittler Rebbe that explains why we are called Bas Tzion. bas, daughter. It's the lowest level of our relationship and service of Hashem, where we have to deal with our attachment to the pleasures of this world. And when we do, where we uproot our attachment and addiction to the pleasures of this world, not only in terms of not doing them, but also not feeling them, not being drawn, not being attracted anymore, only being attracted to a Elokus. This is called Bas Tzion, that forgets her attachment to Amechu Ves Avich, and now she is desired. Her beauty is extra beauty. She has an extra beauty on her face because she is now mekabel extra light because of working with the attachment to klippos in this world and transforming them, and that is Bas Tzion. So we didn't continue this in the second chapter of the Maimar of the Alter Rebbe, but I thought that also that will expound a little bit on Bas Tzion, and as well as learning a little bit the Chassidus of the Mittler Rebbe, and seeing how the Mittler Rebbe took the same Maimar and now unfolding and explaining it more and more. And this is just a small piece. It goes pages and pages and pages, weiter and weiter. So in Yirtzeh Hashem, next time we'll do the Chazara questions with Rivka Miriam in Yirtzeh Hashem, and then we'll continue into the Perek Sheni, the second chapter of Roni Vesimchi, dealing with Tzidkas Chayeranenu, the Rina of the Tzedek of Hashem. We'll talk about Malchus, and then Zecher Rav Tuvcha Yabiu. We say it all in Ashrei. Tzidkas Chayeranenu, Zecher Rav Tuvcha Yabiu, but Tzidkas Chayeranenu. That's a pasuk we say Kuf Mum Hei in Tehillim, Ashrei every day, and how it's connected to Rina. Bezras Hashem next time, and maybe we'll even start the third chapter of the Maimon.